here's a movie that I just saw for the first time ever. David Bowie in The Man Who Fell to Earth. Always heard of this since I was a young kid. This is made in the 70s, 1976 specifically. This is relatively early in David Bowie's career, I guess. I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but it's a quality movie. Science fiction. It's about David Bowie is an alien. Now, it's not really explicitly said anything about like where he comes from and what his mission is on Earth. Well, I guess it's not spelled out clearly, but it's clearly hinted at. It's a very, how do you say it, artsy movie. It's a science fiction, like I said, so because it has an alien in it. So it's always been called a science fiction classic, which, like, you compare this to something like War of the Worlds or Day the Earth Stood Still, one of those like classic sci-fis, or even 2001. This is closer to 2001 than any of those old classic sci-fi movies because it's very trippy, it's very image heavy, very projects real mood throughout the whole movie. A lot of it goes like way over my head, like because first of all, this is made in a time when politically things were very different in the world. Yeah, well, politically and societally, there's a lot of things that have changed since the 1970s, right? And we all understand that. And so this was made through the 1970s kind of funky lens. Like 1970s, it was a weird time, and it's just like the 2020s are a weird time. Am I right? Yeah, but a lot of stuff was revolutionary. There was a lot of concepts being explored in movies and television shows that really hadn't been discussed or explored in very much in filmmaking at the time. Okay, so the basic plot of this movie is David Bowie arrives in America, and he comes from somewhere else, and he poses as an Englishman, of course, because the actual actor / musician David Bowie is from England. This is not a musical. David Bowie is in it, of course, a famous musician of the time, but I don't believe he performs any of the music in here. So he comes from another planet. He has to learn the culture, that kind of thing. He's super intelligent. For some reason, he's able to watch like 10 different TV screens at a time and, absorb all the information from all of them. And just one of those weird things that aliens do, I guess. I don't think there was too many movies before this that explored the angle of alien visitors, but from the point of view of the alien. May have been a few, and obviously there must have been books written. This is based on a book, but it's really done pretty well here, I think. It's overall really interesting movie, but it's really cerebral. Things aren't really spelled out 100% for you. They're just kind of like, I don't know. I get the feeling that this movie was kind of one of those ones where they just kind of came up with a premise and then they just went with it and shot it, and people got into their characters and they just kind of ad-libbed probably a lot of lines in this movie, or at least it seems that way because the acting seems very natural, and at the same time some scenes can be a little bit boring. It does take a long time to progress the story, but that's what I mean about it sets a mood, it sets a tone, and it's a consistent tone. It takes a while to get there. It's kind of depressing in the end, and I'm not even sure I really understand the ending. Like I said, a lot of this movie just goes right over my head because I'm not thinking in the mind frame of 1976 moviegoer who's big on David Bowie. There's a good deal of nudity in this movie. Pretty sure you get to see David Bowie's junk for a half second or something like that for all you fans of David Bowie. It's not exploitative where I don't think it is. Maybe a little bit. Not a whole lot of violence. It's there's a bit of cursing, I guess, like maybe drug use. Lots of alcohol use in this movie. That's integral to the plot line. It paints a picture, but it's one of those pictures that you have to just keep looking at until you really understand what's behind it. But fortunately, it's interesting enough to make you want to understand. Very artsy, like I said. I don't know. It's just weird, man. Like, there's a scene where we get to see David Bowie's true form as an alien, and he's got the makeup and the contact lenses in, and yeah, and he looks like an alien, but it just comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, it's a really brief scene, and it's just like, whoa, what the hell? Like, because it only like hinted at this kind of alien nature earlier on, and it's, you know, one of the characters discovers him in his true form, or he shows his true form to one of the characters, and there's also another really notable scene, which is like a sex scene. Well, basically, it's just bizarre. You have to see it. Let's just say it's a sex scene that involves firearms. It's not, you know, anything super explicit or anything like that, but it's like, what the heck is going on here? But it's there to prove a point and to further enhance this picture, this portrait of this alien that David Bowie is. I did a little bit of research on this. Well, my research is what do? I look at it. I watch the movie. I look it up on Wikipedia sometimes to see if there's something more interesting to say about it. And I did find one thing interesting to say about it. David Bowie, in an interview sometime in the 90s or early 2000s, admitted that he was basically high on cocaine for this entire movie. He said he doesn't even really remember doing certain parts of it. He just knows that he was having fun and enjoying it, and, you know, you can't really see that in his performance, but, you know, I think it's kind of funny that he admitted that. It was the 70s, man. That's just how they made movies back then, I guess. But it doesn't in any way promote, like, drug use or anything like that. Although, you know, you might want to get a little to watch this movie. You might like it better. It's a little long, a little slow moving in parts, but interesting and kind of a little creepy, and it's I would recommend seeing it, especially if you're a fan of David Bowie. I mean, like, his acting is not phenomenal in here, but he pulled it off. The science fiction aspects of it don't really, I mean, it's not a lot. It's he's an alien. We get to see a couple of weird things that he does. There's a couple of flashy lights, which are, you know, the effects aren't like fantastic or anything like that. If you like weirder, artsy kind of movies, then this is the movie for you. If you're looking for like a classic science fiction movie, however, I don't think this is a classic science fiction movie. Not that it isn't a classic movie, but I don't even think of this as really science fiction. It's more of just like a character study, or a, I guess, kind of tragedy, really, that has sci-fi elements in it. It's kind of a, you know, I guess the overall takeaway, the overall message of this movie is like, there's so much stuff in society that's just going to bring you down, and that it's so easy to just fall into those patterns and expectations, and it's about a man who falls to earth. Get it? It's art, man. You gotta love it.